I have to tell you, it really warmed my heart to see the Jones family. And actually, it's been very helpful because, well, I could speak about this a little bit later, but I wasn't sure about the message that I'm supposed to bring today later. And I think after what Ella has spoken, I think I'm encouraged that it is a message that I'm supposed to give. And so we'll get to that later. But one thing that was exciting to me was that when I opened up the bulletin, I saw that Katya was going to do a recitation of an entire chapter.
Amen.
Right? Of Esther 5, was it? I know the Jones family hasn't been here for a while, so I wanted to share with the Jones family some things that have been going on in our church. Okay, and our church has wanted to place a heavier emphasis on memorization of the scripture and putting scripture in our heart again. And one of the ways that we have tried to encourage our congregation to do this is that we have this little poster here, or this little frame, okay? And we see this, and what we like to think of this as a representation of the tree of life, okay? And on the tree of life are the leaves, and then if you read in Revelation, it says that the leaves are for the healing of the nations. And what we have started to do is that as members of our church have memorized scripture, we have put those scriptures on the leaves and initialed it. And we've encouraged members of our church to share the memory verses that they've read, or that they've memorized, I should say, with the congregation, and provide a blessing for us, and that to encourage. And so what you're doing there, Katya, we are also doing here, and so it's so exciting to see that even though we're separate, we're still going on the same path. I should say before Katya comes up, I did see a few new leaves here. I didn't recognize the names. So I'm just going to leave it out there. Is there anybody who wants to? I see Katya already found this actually. So Katya has a leaf here already as well. But if anyone else in the church have any scripture that they wanted to recite for the church? Next week. Okay, we'll do it next week. And so Katya, if you'd come up for us.
So I will be reciting from Esther 5. Now it happened on the third day that Esther put on her royal robes and stood in the inner court of the king's palace, across from the king's house, while the king sat on the royal throne in the royal house facing the entrance of the house. So it was, when the king saw Queen Esther standing in the court, that she found favor in his sight, and the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. And the king said to Esther, What do you wish, Queen Esther? Or what is your request? It shall be given to you, up to half the kingdom. So Esther answered, If it pleases the king, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I have prepared for them. So then the king said, Bring Haman quickly, that he may do as Esther has said. So the king and Haman went to the banquet that she prepared. At the banquet of wine, the king said to Queen Esther, What do you wish, Queen Esther? What is your petition? It shall be granted you. Or what is your request? Up to half the kingdom, it shall be done. Then Esther answered and said, My petition and request is this. If it pleases the king, if I have found favor in his sight, and if it pleases the king to grant my petition and fulfill my request, then let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I will prepare for them, and tomorrow I will do as the king has said. Now, so Haman went out that day joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai sit at the king's gate, and that he did not stand or tremble before him, Haman was filled with indignation against Mordecai. Nevertheless, Haman restrained himself and went home, and sent and called for his friends and his wife Zeresh. Then Haman told them of his great riches, the multitude of his children, everything in which the king had promoted him, and how they had advanced him above the officials and servants of the king. Moreover, Haman said, Besides, Queen Esther invited no one but me to come in with the king to the banquet that I have prepared, and tomorrow I am again invited by her to come along with the king. But all this avails me nothing so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate." Then his wife Zeresh and all his friends said to him, "Let a gallows be made 50 cubits high, and in the morning suggest to the king that Mordecai be hanged on it. Then go merrily with the king to the banquet." So the thing pleased Haman, and he had the gallows made.